In this video, we'll be hunting 2 boxes of pennies, as well as seeing if we can make any progress to the Hunt and Fill album. We'll of course be looking for any wheat scents from 1958 or older. We'll also be looking for any foreigns, proofs, errors, varieties, or any other cool things we can find. And I am excited, particularly for the first box, because we do have 2 wheat scent enters, which is a great sign. Right here, we have a 1957 Denver, and here is a 1944 Philly. Both very common. Of course, we already have both of them, but still, that's a really good sign for the first box. So, let's start the hunt, and I'll bring you in when we have our first find. We're on roll number 2, and I did already get a Canadian in this roll. It is a 2010, and I decided not to put any Canadians into this video when I find them, unless they're an older one, of course. But if you want me to show all the Canadians, you can let me know in the comments, or if you think this is better, you can let me know what you think. But I bring you in because we have the first find besides that, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be a mint error. It's a really terribly struck 1972D on the obverse, but the reverse is perfectly fine. And I'm pretty sure this is a struck through die cap error. Basically, one coin got stuck on the die that was striking the coins, I believe, and this obverse would have been struck through that. And I have found one of these errors before on a nickel, and it looks very similar to that, so I'm pretty sure this is a 1972D struck through die cap mint error, and I'm pretty sure it is, and if it is, that is a great find. Roll 11, just pulled out the 3rd Canadian scent of the box. Unfortunately, no wheat scents yet, but this Canadian did turn out to be a 1958, which is a young head. That is an awesome find. Roll 14, unfortunately still no wheat scents even with those 2 enders, but I did just uncover Canadian number 4, and it is another young head, and it's another earlier one. 1956, usually young heads are from the 60s. That is a great find. Roll 17, and we finally uncovered the first wheat scent of the box. I thought with 2 enders we'd have a good amount, but so far none until now. And it is 1946 from San Francisco. We do already have this one, but it is always great to see a San Francisco minted wheat scent. Just opened roll 20, and still not another wheat scent, still stuck on only just one, but I do see the edge of an even older Canadian scent. I believe that's going to be a King George. I do see another on the front row. I'll just pull out first, just because I have you here. It's a 1990, and right here, it is a King George VI Canadian scent. Already 2 young heads and a King George in this box, which is awesome. Kind of makes up for the lack of wheat scents. And this one is a 1941. That's the oldest Canadian I've gotten in quite a while. That is a great find. Roll 27 was the first of the 2 wheat scent enders, and it's only wheat scent number 2 of the box. This box has been really slow on wheat scents lately, and hopefully it can pick up. But this wheat scent ender is the 1957 Denver. Just opened roll 32, and we're finally going to have the 3rd wheat scent of the box. Doesn't seem like it's heating up, but at least we have another wheat scent right here, just a couple coins in. And this one is 1945 San Francisco. Yet another San Francisco minted wheat scent is always great to see. Roll 33, and we have yet another Canadian scent that's older. It's another young head, the 3rd one of these of the box, which is a lot more than I normally get. This one's a 1963, in pretty decent shape. Next roll, roll 34, was that other wheat scent ender. Don't see anything else in the roll, but the ender was a 1944 from Philly. Just opened roll 41, and I see the edge of the 5th wheat scent of the box. This box has been pretty slow for having 2 enders, but at least we're still getting some finds, and we did get a lot of older Canadians, which was awesome. And this wheat scent is another 1957 Denver. Roll 45, and we're going to have the 6th wheat scent of the box. Just uncovered it, and it is a 1952, minted in Denver. That was all for box number 1, and to be honest, with 2 enders, I thought it would have done a lot better than it did. We only got 6 wheat scents, all from the 40s and 50s, but we did pretty well in the Canadians. We didn't get 3 young heads and a King George, which is awesome. And I didn't bring you in for any of these, but we got a lot of really nice 1967s and 1961 Phillies, so I'm sure we'll be upgrading those too in the album as well. So even with the lack of wheat scents, we still had a pretty good box. So now let's go on to box number 2, and hopefully we can get some good finds in this box. Roll 9, and we finally have the first wheat cent find of box 2. I've already gotten one Canadian, and I see another one in this roll, so I might as well pull it out while I have you here. And it's in 1970, but the wheat cent I just uncovered is the oldest of the hunt so far, in 1941, minted in Philly. Just opened roll 13, and I see the edge of the second wheat cent for box number 2, and it is one away from being an ender right here. And it is 1956 from Philly. Hunting through roll 14, uncovered another Canadian cent, and it is another young head. This one is a 1963, pretty decent shape as well. It's another great find. Just opened roll 16, and I see the edges of 2 wheat cents in this roll, which is awesome. First one I see is right here, and this one's going to be 1945 Denver, and the other one right here. And it is one from the 30s, 1939 out of Philly. Pretty sure we already have that one. It's super common, but still, 30s wheat cent, that's a great find. Roll 18, just uncovered yet another wheat cent for box number 2. And it is just one from the 40s, 1944 out of Denver, but it's still one more wheat cent to add to the finds. Roll 25, halfway point of box 2, and I just uncovered a really good find. That is going to be a clipped planchet error, and it's a decent sized one too for being in circulation. You can obviously see that bottom left of the coin has been clipped off, and there's some sort of effect that on the opposite rim of the coin, which you can see it's a little bit more weakly struck. So this is 100% a legitimate clipped planchet error. Haven't even flipped it over yet, so let's see what year it is. And it's a 1982 Philly. I'll weigh that up to see if it's copper or zinc, but no matter what, that's definitely a clipped planchet. And that is a super cool find. Just opened roll 27, and I see the edge of another wheat cent. I also see a Canadian edge as well, so while I have you here, I'll pull that out also. It looks like a pretty modern one, and it is a 2011. I actually might not have that one because I don't have a lot of the modern Canadians. But the wheat cent is right here. That's why I brought you in. It looks pretty new, probably 50s, and it is a 1954 Denver. Just opened roll 32, and I see the edge of another wheat cent, as well as a couple more Canadians. Let's pull the Canadians out, and they are 1993 there, and right here is the other one, which is a 1994, and the wheat cent is right here, and it is 1941 from Denver. Roll 36, just uncovered yet another wheat cent. This one is just from the 50s, and it is 1950 from Denver. Just opened roll 43, and I see the edge of another wheat cent. First, I'm just going to check this edge, though, since it looks a little bit worn. Maybe it'll be another wheat cent. Nope, just a 1964. That's pretty worn. But the wheat cent is right here, and it is a 1956 Denver. Roll 49, just uncovered another wheat cent at the end of the roll. It's pretty nice, but it is just a 1958 from Denver. Both penny boxes have been hunted, so let's go over the finds. We ended up with 17 1959s, 25 estimates, and 28 2009s. Canadians, we got a lot. We got 24 for the 2 boxes. We got some modern ones, which I don't see too often, and we got a lot of older ones, including a 1967 bird cent, 4 young heads, 2 of them being in the 50s, which is awesome, and that 1941 King George, which was an awesome find. And then a couple of miscellaneous finds. We got that 1972D, I believe it is. It's hard to see with the terrible strike, but I believe it is a struck through die cap error. And as for comparison, I have this confirmed struck through die cap error nickel that I found quite a long time ago before I even started the channel. And with both of them, you can see the obverse has a pretty terrible strike on it due to the error. But on both of them, the reverse struck completely normal. So I believe this is a struck through die cap error penny, not confirmed, but based on the similarities with the nickel, I'm pretty sure it is. And this 1982 Philadelphia small date clip planchet cent, I did weigh it, and it did turn out to be copper, which is awesome. 82 small date cents I barely even see, let alone the copper one, so that's awesome. And also, I don't really bring you in for the nicer cents too often, but in box number 1, got this stack of nice 61 and 67 Phillies really awesome to see those in the boxes. Probably will upgrade the album for each of these. And then lastly, wheat cents, we ended up with 16 for the 2 boxes, which is a little light, mostly due to box number 1 being really light on the wheat cents despite having 2 enders. But we did get 1 pre-40s at least in 1939 out of Philly, which is always awesome to see. And then lastly, for the copper, pretty much filled the copper jar, which is about average for how I do on copper, which is awesome. So I'm not sure if we have any additions, but I'll put any additions and upgrades we have in the album, and I'll bring you back with an album update. Just finished putting everything into the album, and here's how it looks now. We did actually have an addition in this hunt, which I didn't think we did. We actually needed the 1956 from Philly, and we did add that in this episode, which is awesome. And we also had a few upgrades as well as normal, a few in the wheat cent, and then, of course, those BU 1961 Phillies and 1967s. We definitely were able to upgrade those, as well as a lot of other memorial cents as well. Overall, this was definitely a very successful Penny Hunt and Fill episode.